Hey, how's everybody doing today? My name is Steven Rosenberg. This is Gene Ginsberg, and you are watching Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. We're really excited today because we are going to be covering some very useful topics for you. Gene, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I just came back from the Traffic and Conversion Summit, so we created a little video
Awesome.
about that. But I wanted to ask you about South by Southwest, of course. You are in Austin
hmm
now, and it is brewing, and I'm sure there's a lot of activity going on related to South by Southwest. So tell me a little bit about what you've been doing the last week as it relates to the event.
Yeah, so, South by Southwest has taken over Austin, Texas, and, I'd love to talk about how how it's really affected all those things, but, I also really want to be very practical about some of the takeaways and the things that I learned from some of the best and the brightest people in the world. I mean, one thing that I learned is that people from all over the world come into South by Southwest. So, for example, Mark Cuban, Gary Vaynerchuck, Tim Ferriss, uh, Carlos Gill, like all of these influencers were there. I got to meet a bunch of them. I got to meet Guy Kawasaki. Obviously, got to meet Gary V. We were just chatting a little bit. No big deal. Not that I was really excited about that or anything. And actually, you can go on.
Sounds like someone is starstruck.
No, not starstruck at all. It was just like a long time coming, and it was really cool to not only interact with Gary Vee, but to interact with his staff, who was extremely nice and helpful. And what I want to talk about is, being persistent. Talk about being persistent. This is something I've been going after for a while, but now I've been able to carry over the conversation with his staff since the South by Southwest event. So I've actually been emailing back and forth with them about a specific project. I can't really discuss that project right now, but
Very top
I'm
secret.
telling you that, well, yeah, I mean, it's just not something I'm going to talk about yet, but what I'm trying to say is that, being persistent about that has really paid off for me, because now I'm actually talking to them in VaynerMedia about doing some things. So that's very exciting to me, and just another reason why I'm excited about that overall. But nevertheless, I mean, being able to network at an event like this is, you can't really put a price tag on it. I mean, getting an opportunity to talk to some of these people and these industry leaders and going to the panels to learn the latest, greatest things that are coming out, like at your summit, talking about the Facebook Messenger app, things of that nature that I just don't think are widespread on the internet yet, is very important. And how you really get the value out of going to summits like this or going to South by Southwest and justify paying those costs, because we both know they're not cheap.
It's very true.
Yeah. So, I think that's really exciting.
That's awesome. So, what
Yeah.
else is going on at South by Southwest? Any like speaking engagements that you've been going to that you think you can provide some takeaways for our
Yeah.
audiences? Like anything that you're
Abs-
hearing or listening, or anything that's like trending in South by Southwest?
Absolutely. So, one thing that's trending that I really took away, and I think the audience should really pay attention to right now, is Instagram direct messaging, and also building a brand for the long term and direct call to action using Snapchat. Those are two things that I really think are very valuable and going to be up and coming. I think the messaging app world as a whole, and I think it's also interesting that you said the Facebook Messenger, but I think that direct messaging, Instagram, people through Instagram, is very, very, very valuable, because you're able to typically cut through a lot of the noise that are on a lot of the other platforms. So, for example, on Twitter, if you direct message someone, the chance of getting a response is very slim to none, especially high profile people. But on Instagram, it's a lot different, and you're typically going to get a response back or actually get a human, compared to like Facebook, sort of the chat box. I mean, that has a lot of good application, but also if you try to message certain people using Facebook, you get an instant response, a robot response. which is good in certain instances, but not if you're actually trying to begin a conversation or start a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
So I think it's Instagram direct messaging. I also think that going live is something that's going to continue to be very, very, very important in the marketplace,
Are you
and
talking about like
something
Facebook Live?
Facebook Live, Instagram Live, exactly. YouTube now has YouTube Live. There's obviously a trend that's starting with that. And I think it's much harder to do that in a skillful way. I mean, yes, of course, anybody can go live, but to actually go live and add value is very much more difficult, or needs to be planned a little differently. But I really got to experiment a lot with that this week so far at South by Southwest, and also noticed a lot more engagement using that. So I don't know if that's because Facebook is using a special algorithm to push those up higher, but or what. But for example, yesterday I went live on Instagram and Facebook Live. Outside of a YouTube event that was going on here at South by Southwest where Beyonce's sister was performing, and it was packed, and I got so many more hits because of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting, so I think there's something behind that. Those are two really important takeaways that I encourage our audience to try out this week or next week to see if you're able to get more views if you try to go live.
I totally agree with that. So from what I understand, Facebook pushes your Facebook Live like event, or like if anybody in your circle of your Facebook is actually doing a Facebook Live, that gets pushed up to the top always.
Oh, really?
I see that all the time.
Okay. Okay.
Or
cool.
it will say
Yeah.
like your friend, XYZ was just live on Facebook, and will like you can I think it like links out to the video or whatnot. So I feel like the algorithm is definitely putting more emphasis on putting
Yeah, it
Facebook
seems
Live
that way
up on top of your feed.
to me.
Mhm.
Have you ever done live yet? Or done it for a client?
I personally have never done live, but I have set up campaigns to do live for my clients. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you notice a difference?
Yeah, it's been a really positive experience. Basically, we created some trainings for one of my clients. So it was like a campaign that we did. We did like 3 trainings, really good response, really good brand awareness, and really good just awareness of like the client that I'm talking about, and then also their products. So that was. Highly recommend Facebook Live if you want to create more awareness for your page or whatnot, or for your products.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
So,
anything else you want to add?
No, I was just gonna ask, how long is South by Southwest going for? Like how many?
So it goes from the 9th to the 19th. So it's going to be over this Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, not to play down, I mean, every day I've been out there in the middle of the crowd, getting involved in as much as possible. I mean, it literally takes over the entire city of Austin. There's always stuff going on. Everywhere is packed from, just everywhere. It's a madhouse here. There's been a lot of different things that I've encountered, and a lot of learning opportunities, a lot of networking, a lot of famous people. I mean, there's just so much going on here, and it's nonstop. I mean, from the parties at night to very practical keynote speeches during the day, to workshops, to they're doing these takeover businesses. So for example, there's a restaurant or a bar on 6th Street, but for example, National Geographic did a takeover where they come in, they gut the entire bar, they set up a whole different venue. They were doing this very futuristic 3D thing, which was very, very cool. I think you can actually look it up on Google or YouTube. And it's really interesting. They're doing these pop-up shops for a number of days where with certain passes you can go in and learn about the latest, greatest technology. I mean, I got to see a showcase of some of the most futuristic things that are actually here. They have self-driving cars here. They're doing all kinds of different things with drones, 3D printers, all the latest, greatest from all over the world. The way that they divide up the center is, you know, you have an aisle like a typical convention, but they break it up by country. So there's like China and Japan and, you know, America. It's just amazing here. I don't even know how to put it all into one description.
Excuse me. That's awesome. Wow, very cool. Well, I'd love to see.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some videos if you have any of those, and maybe you can share
I'll
it with our
definitely
audience.
be posting
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
I think.
Well, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that information about South by Southwest. I'm sure our audiences really love learning about, you know, people who are actually like on the scene and can provide some information about that. So thanks so much, Stephen.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good rest of the day.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Jean.